there's so much lost opportunity in terms of joy and connection and expertise, right? That because schools don't have really meaningful ways to engage with community, that is just lost, and that's a shame for the kids. And I also think, we have attendees in group who will be like, let's do it this way. I think we make a lot of space for people to show up exactly as they are, and to have a voice themselves for our youth community, not the youth facilitators, not just the youth facilitators, but also the attendees, to have a voice.
Welcome to the Power of Community on the Voice of Montbello Podcast. I'm your host, Bree, and today I'm here with Megan Casimir, founder of Worlds Beyond Walls, and we are also joined by the program facilitator, Jawuan. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
In this special podcast series, we speak with powerful educators and entrepreneurs who have participated in the Moonshot Fellowship here in Denver, Colorado. The Moonshot Fellowship is an amazing program that empowers educators to reimagine education and embrace their creativity to develop experiences with the youth. Tell us a bit about yourselves. Where are you guys from?
I grew up in New England outside of Boston, and I moved to Washington, D.C. when I was 18. I lived there for about 15 years, and then I moved to Denver about 10 years ago. I'm a school social worker, I'm a parent, and I'm the founder of Words Beyond Walls.
I'm born and raised in Denver, Colorado. I work with Words Beyond Walls and DSST. That's it. So yeah.
Okay. What does Worlds Beyond Walls mean to you?
Me? Well, what it means to me is that it's like stuff that's outside of the box. Stuff that is like that's hidden, you know what I'm saying? That is that like I don't know, like a bigger picture, you know what I'm saying? That's what Words Beyond Walls like mean to me, is that it's like a bigger picture, there's something more than just the four walls of that we're all used to, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I like that. So what does Worlds Beyond Walls mean to you?
Well, I don't think I'm going to say it better than Jawuan did, but yeah, I think it means to me just that I think we work really hard at Words Beyond Walls to live in what community looks like, sort of outside of some of the like boundaries or constraints, restrictions that we have experienced in the school system and in the criminal legal system. I think we work hard to build a community that transcends or helps us move outside the restrictions of those walls.
I like that. Okay. So you've been on this journey for a while now. Can you tell us more about the organization, the journey, and what you learned about yourself, schools, and students along the way?
That is a big, deep question. That's a really good question. I got the idea to start this organization in January of 2020, and was originally conceived as a way to support students who are currently incarcerated by providing arts-based workshops and learning opportunities. And then I joined Moonshot, and we started using a liberatory design process and talking to students who are currently incarcerated, people who are formerly incarcerated, community members, and the number one thing when I was talking to people who were formerly incarcerated, when I would ask them, what is the thing, who is the person who helped you most in your journey in learning what you needed to learn and in becoming the person you wanted to be, every single person said that when they were incarcerated, it was somebody on the milieu staff, which is, the people from the neighborhood who are making $18, $19. It was never a therapist. It was never a case manager. It was never, a person who was kind of in on what we would think of as the like expert support team. And when we started asking people like, well, why? It was, because they grew up where I grew up. They talked to me like I'm a real person. They were there when I was hurting and I needed something. And so I think that it was partly that. And then it was partly also that the young people that I started, talking about the program and developing the program with, I feel really fortunate that most of our team of founding facilitators, I have known them since they were, 11, 12, and have been able to kind of be a part of the journey, be along on the journey for some years now. And now I have all these like incredible people in my life who are, 18, 19, just have this like incredibly rich experience and expertise and community influence, and not a lot of spaces to live into that, right? Like, and not a lot of structure or supports, when you're a young adult, if you're not connected to school, or you're not connected, to a church, or you're not connected to kind of external like formal networks of support. It's hard, right? It's hard to feel like, how do I find leadership? How does my voice like contribute to the well-being of my community? And so we sort of came together and realized, well, we have this like incredible community leadership in the young folks in our community. And then we also have young folks in our community who really want a safe space and want to be able to bring cousins and friends and family and people from other schools. And we don't have any kind of like a community space that really feels particularly, I think once you get above, 13, we don't have a community space that's really structured, that feels welcoming, where you can, build bonds with people that are in this like diverse place in life. And so we started running it in August. We started running it as an after-school program in August of 2021. We had enough money to run it for 8 weeks. Everybody who's on our team gets paid for every hour that they put into it. That feels really important to me. And we just have been running it ever since. It has sort of taken off from there. And now we have, I don't know, how many people are on the team? 10?
10 of them.
10. There's 10 people. There's 10 people on the leadership team. And we run twice a week after school programming. We run a community care space, and we run a healing circle. And I learned a lot. I don't even know how to put into kind of a box what I have learned. I feel like I have learned that I can build something. I am so cared for in the Words Beyond Walls community. Like, that is a space that has enriched my life, has filled my bucket through some like really difficult times in the last couple years and in my personal life. And I have just learned how much power there is and I think I have learned, like, it feels like it's building itself, right? Like somebody will get the idea to make us an Instagram, and then they make it and they run it. And somebody, I feel like I've learned that like when we really locate power in the hands of people in community with one another, and when we prioritize the collective, like it's really beautiful. Like, really beautiful things come from it. What have you learned, or what has your experience been like?
Well, my experience been great. Working with the youth I love doing that. And it taught me like team building. It taught me like more like to like I don't know, to understand like the next people around me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, it just taught me like to really have that like that empathy and sympathy, and want to like go above and beyond, like regardless, just because I feel like there's kids just like me that deserve that space, or deserve the same like stuff that I learned, but I learned like way after, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like
Yeah.
I need to give it to the next, like, while they're younger, you know what I'm saying? So I learned a lot, and I'm grateful.
How did you find out about the program?
How I found about the program is that I ran into, well, one of my friends named Sean. He's one of the ones that actually like started WBW with Miss Cass. So I know Sean from my community, and I don't know, he just invited me. Him and his little brother, little Dominic, was like, come to group, you know what I'm saying? Came to group, and I've been loving it since. I go. So yeah. And then I went from just going to knowing that I wanted to facilitate something inside of the team. I wanted to be a part of that team. So
Yeah.
And now you're the team
yeah.
lead.
Now I'm
Now
the
he's
team,
the
yeah.
he's like the
You
you
worked your
know.
way up to the top spot.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
What makes Worlds Beyond Walls unique?
We're youth leadership. So it's like we're youth led, like everything's youth led. So it's like our space wouldn't be like a boys and girls club or like a different like program like that. How our program is that it's actually like facilitators. I'm the oldest facilitator because I'm 22. But everybody that's under me, like they're younger. So we have facilitators all the way down to 16, 15, 16.
15
Yeah,
or
15
15
years
or
old.
16.
Yeah, that like we run programming, you know what I'm saying? Like we play the games with programming. We do everything as like not like, oh, I'm the boss, I'm the teacher or this and that. Like we don't run it like that. We just like I don't know, like you have to be there to see what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like we literally like we run the youth runs like the community. We actually feel like it's our community because we get to run our circle. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
so if I answered it right.
That's a great answer.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
How should schools amplify young voices today?
I think one of the things we've learned, right? We talk about this a lot, right? Like we have kids who are staying at school an extra hour and a half after they've
Yes.
been there all day, right? And that's a long day. Like by 4 o'clock, the fact that people are choosing to kind of stay and spend their time with us. We have kids who come from Cole, from Manual, from East, kids from the community who aren't coming from school, who are just coming, building it into their day as like prioritizing choosing to be there. And what I think we have learned that I wish schools would do more is number one, like make their spaces more accessible to community. I think it is like there feels like there's very thick walls sometimes between a school and the community outside of the school. And I think that just there's so much lost opportunity in terms of joy and connection and expertise, right? That because schools don't have really meaningful ways to engage with community, that is just lost, and that's a shame for the kids. And I also think, we have like we have attendees in group who will be like, let's do it this way. I think
Right.
we make a lot of space for people to show up exactly as they are,
Mhm.
and to have a voice themselves for our youth community, not the youth facilitators, not just the youth facilitators, but also the attendees, to have a voice in what does programming look like, and what food should we have and how do we celebrate. And I think the fact that we are able to make space for that, not just able to make space for that's one of our key priorities, is one of the reasons why we have a lot of kids who are excited to be there.
Yeah. Jawuan, you said that you were from the east side of Denver. What was it like growing up there?
Well, the east side of Denver has its goods and its bads. But I would say like it helped me today to become who I am today. So I don't know. I could say like I didn't have to go through as much as like the next kid had to go through that was like that really lived in that part of town, you know what I'm saying? Or like grew up like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know. I don't know, like to be honest, but yeah. I love my community. I love my community and it taught me a lot and helped me figure out what I really wanted to do. That helped me figure out if I wanted to take this path or take this path, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I took a lot from that because now I could take both of them paths, but I could just take my experience that I learned from this path instead of me going down that path. I could just take in what I learned and put that into the new path that I'm trying to take now. And so my community, it was just like any other community, you know what I'm saying? It had its ups and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Megan, what made you want to be a youth director?
I I mean, honestly, part of the reason why I feel like I feel so lucky to have the relationships and care and folks I have in my life, and I feel like Words Beyond Walls gives me an opportunity to spend time with them and to put money in their pockets and to, to learn from them and for us to learn together. And I think, yeah, why wouldn't I? Like in a way, I think of it as
Yeah.
why wouldn't I want to do that, right? Like there's no
Right.
better job than that. Why would I want to like sit in dry meetings and talk about problems and whatever all day when I could be, you know, playing games and and having a team to make decisions with and like learning so much. Yeah. I just like everything about it.
Jawuan, what inspired you to create your own brand and create music?
What inspired me was the people I surrounded myself by. And because of the stuff I was doing in my life, you know what I'm saying? So, because I started my own brand that was called Young and Pay Forever. Like the basically the first letters of what my hat is, but it's for like just the youth. You know what I'm saying? Like I looked at it as I was like, we need to do more than, you know what I'm saying, just spend money. You know what I'm saying? We need to like
Yeah.
take pictures and do this, and you know what I'm saying, like actually like I don't know, show like what we're actually doing, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I think it was just the stuff that I was doing, and just because I was young and I had some money, so that's where the Young and Pay came from, and it's just I believe that everybody needs money, so it's forever. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's for the you. It was because of the Elias and everybody that I surrounded myself by that the brand came up for.
Do you want to talk a little bit? Because I feel like we've had really interesting conversations about just like money and community and like what it means when you're built, like if you're building a business or a brand kind of like within your community. Do you want to talk a little bit more about when you were talking about like when we talk about like having a space, right? Like a space where people could sell things. Like what does
Yes,
it mean
yes.
to you to be like an entrepreneur sort of like within community? Does that make any more sense? I'm not asking my question and
Yeah. Well, you basically saying like where was I going with the Young
yeah.
and Pay? Okay, well, where I was trying to go with the Young and Pay was that there's not a lot of like people that's like me that has like all right, well, I could say there's not a lot of 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, you know what I'm saying, that is gonna open up the space that is like for the youth, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like how I was looking is that I pay $60 an hour for the studio I go to now, plus the $30 deposit, you know what I'm saying? So I was just thinking that if we start a brand like that, you know what I'm saying? Like we can put the studio in there for free for, you know what I'm saying, all the youth that come in that want to be a part, or clothing too. I wanted to put the stamping and the design, because I can make clothes and like do all this. So basically like all my talents, I wanted to like work with other people and their talents and like put it together, get a building, and then like make a space like this. You know what I'm saying? Like that they can come in and have that access, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, because I know I didn't have that access back then, you know what I'm saying? That mess what made me want to follow the next person or want to go and do this and that, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have no space, and I also wasn't gonna sit at home. So
Yeah.
just what the goal was just the space, to have the space for the youth. Like that was long term, that was free. Because everything you gotta pay for now. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this is a question for both of you. Why is community important to you?
Community is important to me. I mean, community is important to me because that's what gives me life and that's where I feel like I'm my best and most true self. I think that's my heart why. I think the systems of power in our society are set up to be deliberately destructive and divide people and take people's power away. And I think there are very smart people who work very hard at changing the system. And I think how we approach changing those things is by building such a strong and thriving community that those systems that we don't even need those systems, right? Like that we people don't even need to be involved in those systems anyway. And that when they do get involved in those systems, that they have a community of people who can help navigate it, who can help, who know you and who have your back, and where you feel like a sense of safety and belonging. I think we find all of those things in community. And when we find all of those things and when we have all those things, then all of these like predatory systems that are set up to destroy people don't have access, because we just have built something that is totally separate and apart from them.
Well, my community is important to me. Well, I would say the east side of Denver is important to me is because we get the bad end of the stick down there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't get the opportunity to even be great. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
we immediately, you know what I'm saying, is that like everybody thinks like that is the bad part of town. You know what I'm saying? There's no success, like all this negative stuff, you know what I'm saying? So that's what makes me want to go back to my community all the time, because I know what I gained from like what I took from my community, you know what I'm saying? Even though if a lot of other people don't, it's not like catching on to what life like shows us like down the line, then I don't know. I feel like I can give that back. I can give that little, like, I don't know, like I can give what I done taught back to my community, you know what I'm saying? And help my community not feel like we're like the poor end of the stick, you know what I'm saying, down there,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, let them know that they have opportunities, they can do this and that. So yeah, that's the reason why my community is important to me.
Jawuan, you mentioned that you lost someone due to gun violence. How did that affect you?
It affected me. Affects me every day, even today. It affects me because it feels like I be feeling like I could have did more. Even though I know I did a lot, feel like I could have did more. And yeah, just losing somebody that you have that bond that you like, losing somebody that you see that has like a call, like like I seen something in Elias that nobody else like was not like even giving him the chance to even shine, to even see, so he could see for himself, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
losing that, like, I don't know, it just impacts me. It impacts me every day, every single day, because I feel like I didn't get the time. I got last year, I got like from March to February, you know what I'm saying? March of last year to February to even know him. So like to actually like know him, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, my feelings be hurt every single day, you know what I'm saying? Because for one, nobody should have to die at 12 years old at
Yeah.
all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I done made it to 22, so it's like I really think that like that should never sit right with anybody, you know what I'm saying? That it's like, dang, this is a baby, regardless right or wrong or indifferent. I just know like right is right, and I just think, yeah, but it impacts me all the time. I use coping skills that like I put all my energy, like when I'm feeling down and stuff, I put that, like I flip it and like turn into positivity, you know what I'm saying? Like me working in the schools and stuff, how I look at it is that everything that I couldn't do for Elias, I may run into, you know what I'm saying, somebody that is younger than me that I can give that, I can give back to, just like how I met Elias. I met Elias and he, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have nothing in common, none of that. But I just know he needed somebody and I needed somebody too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I just feel like I gotta turn sadness into like knowing that there's still more like in the world that I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
What are some coping methods that helped you after you lost Elias?
I cried. What helped me is crying and just thinking about the good in the situation. But yeah, that's literally the only thing that I let that anger out, you know what I'm saying? But I let it out more like with myself, you know what I'm saying? Not like around people or not even like on people, none of that. I just broke everything down and was like, dang, I thought about the things I could have did better. I thought about if I was there, what could have happened or what would not have happened. I try to break down the situation like so many in different ways just so I could sit right in my, it still don't sit right, but like at least I know for sure, like, and it took me some time, but at least I know for sure like I was doing right by him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I shouldn't feel like Imma feel bad regardless, you know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah.
I shouldn't feel like I didn't have some type of impact on him because we were doing what we supposed to do, you know what I'm saying? We was going to school. He was going to school. He was like everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know. I just for my coping skills, I think about like the bigger picture. That's like of it. And then, I breathe, I cry, or I talk to people like Miss Cass that I know that I can talk to, and if she don't understand me or she do understand me, it's like it won't go to the next person. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it'll be secure, you know what I'm saying? And
That just there's so much lost opportunity in terms of joy and connection and expertise, right? That because schools don't have really meaningful ways to engage with community, that is just lost, and that's a shame for the kids. And I also think, we have like we have attendees in group who will be like, "Let's do it this way. Let's," I think we
right.
we make a lot of space for people to show up exactly as they are,
Hmm.
and to have a voice themselves for our youth community, not the youth facilitators, not just the youth facilitators, but also the attendees, to have a voice in what does programming look like, and what food should we have and how do we
Right.
celebrate. And I think the fact that we are able to make space for that, not just able to make space for that's one of our key priorities, is one of the reasons why.
Cause I could have did a lot. We did a lot. You know what I'm saying? We went to Dallas together. I took him to Dallas, Vegas. Like we did a lot together, but we could have did a lot more. You know what I'm saying? A
Yeah.
lot more. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. After I lost my cousin because he went to go pick up his kids from their mom, and her boyfriend, he got out of the car and shot him at the gas station. It's over, I don't remember where it's by, but it's in Aurora, right outside of Marbella. And I know that he was in my childhood a lot,
Mhm.
but I have like no memories with him, and it just I don't know. Every day I'm just like, I wish that I made time for him more and actually got to know him now that I'm
Right.
older.
But you feel like that connection is still with you though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk more about the Moonshot Fellowship. Can you describe it more?
I joined Moonshot in 2020, and when we first started, I started it in August of 2020. So it was like, that's when it was fully remote. Everything, it was like remote school, remote, just everybody was that's like, when
Yeah.
everybody was still like kind of totally on quarantine, like stuck in the house. And so I think actually in a way that was perfect, right? Because it gave me this space to get to know this like new community of people. And we didn't have really all the pressures of like all these, now I feel like we're back to this space where it's like everybody's doing a million things and going in every which direction. But in a way, I think for me, I got to know the most amazing. There's somebody in my cohort, Joanne Liu, who I've known, since 2003. We were like at each other's weddings. We were there when our kids were born, and she was in my cohort. So it was just this amazing experience where I got to meet all these new people who, lots of whom I'm still connected with today. And I got to be in the experience with, one of my oldest friends who I've known for the longest time. And I felt and that was like the first time in my life that anybody ever really invested in me as a person who could build something. I felt so much trust, and I had resources, and I had money to try things out, right? To like run this program and see what happened. And I had people who I knew were rooting for me and cheering me on, and I had time, right? I had like time to think and to grow as a leader. This is Words Beyond Walls is my first time ever really leading anything or building anything. And I felt like if it wasn't for Moonshot and the people in Moonshot and the resources, I would never have had the courage to build something myself. And nor would I have really had the support network or people around me to help me grow into like the leader that I want to be.
Yeah, definitely. So what is the most important lesson that you learned that you still carry with you today?
You get the really hard
Oh
question.
man. The lesson that I learned that I carry every day is that what I say to myself every day is that you can give and give as much as you want, but that's better for me. I don't know. Like, I say no. Yeah, I'm really not for sure. I don't know what lesson. I think to live life, actually, like to live my life. I don't know. I think that's the lesson I learned, is that like don't wait too late. You know what I'm saying? Or yeah, live how I want to live. Basically,
Yeah.
don't worry about what the net have or the next person think of me or none of that. Just live my life how I want to. You know what I'm saying? That's what
Yeah.
I carry with myself every day.
If you would give advice to a youth like my age, what would you tell them?
I would say finish school for sure. And I don't know, be you. That's what I really say, because I grew up not being me. Like grew up trying to be something that it wasn't me forever, like forever.
Yeah.
Like, so I would say be you regardless. Like, I don't know. You gotta get some money. So it's like, I don't know. It's like you will want to finish school. You don't want to think about that after. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's a good question. I'm not for sure all the way what I would say.
Okay. Describe how the moonshot community has impacted you.
For me, it's just been an incredible source both of people who I learned about Moonshot because I came to a showcase for the cohort before me. And it was one of the few experiences I have had in Denver where when I walked in the room, I looked around and was like, oh, these are people I want to know more. And when I listened to people talk about what they were doing, I was like, oh, these are people that are doing something really interesting. These are people who are, building something and they
Yeah.
care about each other, right? Like they care about one another and they care about the work and they care about the impact in ways that felt really refreshing and really new to me. And I think being a part of that community, gave me so much more confidence in myself as a leader because I was looking around like, okay, well, if somebody thinks I belong in this group, then I must be doing something right, which is something that has been a real struggle for me, is like to trust myself and to believe in myself as a leader. And I felt like I, number one, was able to be really honest about that. I was able to really like work through a lot of that and talk about it, which I think I needed that, right? And I also had these people around me that were just building like and still are, right? Like building these just incredibly dope things that I can look at and be like, I can reach out and be like, "Hey, like, how do you handle this thing? Or can you give me an example of what your, one-page flyer looks like?" I feel like I can get both like practical support and just I have these incredible examples of people who are building just really cool things. And it gives me the motivation and it gives me the motivation and the support network to kind of keep going and to be like, okay, well, I can build something that is like meaningful
Yeah.
and powerful also.
Okay. Education is hard. What makes you guys keep going?
Yes, it is.
Like, why work in that kind of field? That's
Yeah.
what you say? It's the youth. I'm trying to say it's like really the youth, like the reason why. No, I don't even be looking at it like that. Like I don't look at it as like education's hard or anything that. Like I want to work in that type of field. You know what I'm saying? I want to do something. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like it all ties into it. You know what I'm saying? Into like later long term goals. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason I don't know. I have motivation for it.
Okay.
I'm a lot older than Jawuan, so I think what makes me keep going is
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at an age now where like I think about legacy, right? Like I think about like who's gonna say my name after I die, right? Like who's gonna remember me? And like it's one of the things I love about Words Beyond Walls is like there's how many people on the team have kids? Three people on the team,
Mhm.
almost about to be four.
Yeah.
Like
Me.
I think there's something that's like that feels so beautiful to me about, my kids spend time in the Words Beyond Walls space.
Mhm.
Everyone on the team who has kids, their kids spend time in the Words Beyond Walls space. I get to, be a part of their parenting journey. We talk about parenting and we talk about our kids all the time. I get to know Jawan's mom. I get to know other people's moms. Like I think that's what keeps me going is just feeling like, we are together building a legacy that is generational, right? That's not just like I feel like sometimes in education you get it's so reactive. You feel like you have to deal with everything that's right in front of you. There's so much in front of you all the time. And I feel like what keeps me going having so much opportunity and so many experiences that make me feel like we're building something that's not only impacting me, and it's not only impacting the youth facilitators, but it's impacting their children. It's impacting their children's lives, and it's impacting, and then what are their kids' lives going to look like, right? Like what's going to happen, what's going to be better because we did this work now, right? Like what are we putting in place for the toddlers, right? And I think the answer is like a lot, right? Like we're building a community where I think people can bring their parenting selves to the table, and their toddlers can spend time in the space, and they can feel cared for and supported, both as like young people and as parents and as, leaders. And I think that's what keeps me going.
I like that a lot.
Thank you.
Describe your work in a few sentences.
In a few sentences.
My work that I do?
Yeah.
In a few sentences.
This is a good question. I feel like we should have this. We should have this answer.
We lead, we facilitate,
I'm trying to think about what I would think.
Let me see.
Do you want to think for a second?
Yeah.
I would describe us as as a youth-led, community-focused nonprofit organization. What we do is create spaces of belonging and joy and access that are open and accessible and welcoming for the young folks in our community.
Yeah, I'm gonna just piggyback off that. Say that's what, that right there, for sure. Safety, safe environment. What's
the best part of your day at your job?
Group is the best part of my day. We always start group with, we do check-in. Our opening is check-in where everybody participates. And, one of the ways we try to signal being really different from some of the other systems is you can come, you can come whenever, right? So if you're not there for the very beginning, that's okay. Come in. And then when you come in, what we do, I'm going to start all this over again. The best part of my day is group. One of the things I love about group, the moment where that helps me sort of like, that's very grounding and helps me transition, is we start group with a check-in. Everybody participates, and our 3 check-in questions is, what's your name? How are you feeling? And what's your word for the week? And a lot of times when I sit down in the space, I realize, maybe nobody has asked me how I'm feeling. That's my first time. It's 4:00. Group starts at 4:00. And that's my first time having anybody ask me and actually care about the answer for how am I feeling that day. And it's my first time answering that question for myself in any given day. And I think the moment where I get to I feel like that's a deep breath, right? The moment where I can be like, okay, and I know that people are paying attention to the answer, right? Like I know if I say, I'm feeling great today, right? Like I know that Jawuan cares about the answer to that question.
Yes.
And I know if I say, I'm hurting, I'm having a hard day, I do say that, I say that when it's true. And I always get, right, like follow up, like, how are you doing? What can we do for you? Like, I feel like people really care in that space. People really care about the answers to each other's questions. And that's always the best part of my day.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I agree, but I like that. That's the best part of your day. Well, I guess that's all for today. Thank you, Megan and Jawuan, for joining us today on the show. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you for tuning in. But before we leave, Megan, please finish the sentence for me. Moonshot is
possibility.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Megan. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Why do you always look so much cooler than me? That's okay.
Thank you for listening to the Voice of Montbello Podcast.
You can find our episodes anywhere you listen to podcasts.
You can support our work by checking out our Instagram at Confluence Media Center.
Click the link tree in about to connect with us.
Be sure to rate, reviews, and follow us. Make sure you put them good. And make a donation.
This has been a Confluence Media production.